we are for part 3 in the first series of the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Services Generations. This part of Back Then is entitled Work to Had. Sit back, relax, and listen as some of our more mature ones tell us the types of work that they did in order to make a living.
Well, I used to cut cane. I do all kind of things. But after I hear them say they have robbed me, that people money and do this, me leave. And after I leave, I get another job with sweep drain. So I sweep drain until I retire. Friends every time with me hand, you know, because I get shot in me hand. Among 11, go to Jamaica. So I come back and see drain with it. So I still, but me, after me taking sick again, telling me done with it. And getting a little pension, me done with it. Me not kill out myself on my hand.
I was recruited to be in the Federal Architect and Engineer Department of the Leeward Island. As you know, the Leeward Island at the time comprised of St. Kitts, Nevis, the whole section going down, plus the Tortola, right? And I think Dominica. Right. And then that federal setup was disbanded or dissolved in 1952. So then the staff of the Federal Engineers and Architect and Engineers Department, which was servicing the whole of the Leeward Islands, were all contract officers. The staff was on contract. And it was a question of, suppose they're getting away from paying us for breaking the contract and whatnot. Because I had only served about a year and a half.
And how long?
So I 4 years.
Okay.
So they were getting the other islands, as they were, particularly St. Kitts and Nevis, to take some of the staff, and some went to Montserrat, right? Some remained in Antigua. They asked me whether I would come here, which I did. So that's how I then was recruited into the St. Kitts setup.
So tell us about CHA at the time when you came. What was going on?
Well, when I came, I went straight to the Public Works Department.
Okay.
And I remained in Public Works from 52 until 1960.
Wow.
Then I was transferred to Central Housing Authority. That's how I got into Central Housing Authority. Because Stratford, who had come also from the Federal Department, he went to work with the factory. And he was in charge of Central Housing Authority, so I succeeded him. So that's how I came into the whole government setup.
Okay. So tell me then, what are some of the projects that you undertook that you can recall?
Well, in Public Works Department, when I first came, I got involved in, what was my first project? Oh, this grammar school. That time we were building the new educations. We were going to build the new education center.
Okay.
So I was involved with the architect and the planning and the drawing up of plans and whatnot. As you know, he left it unfinished, so I had to finish up that. because when he left, 'cause he was also on a 4-year contract, but his contract started before mine.
Okay.
So he left, and he did not return. So I acted during his absence, or until they had recruited another superintendent of public works, which took nearly 3 years.
Okay. So where was that located? The new education center? Was that?
It's the one that's there now.
Where the present location?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then.
Because the old grammar school was up by Aloes Park, as they call it now.
Aloes Park. Okay, that's where the old grammar school was.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So, what are some of the areas that you would have overseen? Would it have included, like, Ponds Pasture? What was Ponds Pasture like at the time?
Pasture. When I say pasture, a swamp.
A swamp.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you all have to do? How did you get
Fill
that
it.
to change from a swamp to what it is now?
We had to get the earth from all over the place. Connery, from Keon, from above present Pond Pasture. That's where we ran into the Curry burial place, and the seawall stretching from Sandown Road right down now. It had ended. You know the road connecting Frigate Bay Road to the Bay Road?
Yes.
Just
Close to Port
just
Zante?
eh?
Close to Port Zante? Or further across?
Oh, higher, quite
Higher up?
all by Sandown Road. It went from Sandown Road not to the railway line, about halfway between.
Okay.
It was after the developed upon pasture extension, and that included most of the industrial development, because Pond Pasture was supposed to be a residential area. And the main purpose of it was to take the overspill from Newtown, which was under the Stump Clearance Act. But there's a lot of difficulty of some people who owned land and had only rented out small bits that could not meet the standard that was required of a lot. So Pond Pasture was served to take up the overspill and in an exchange for land.
Oh, okay.
See?
So it was
Instead of compensating them, instead of acquiring and compensating them in cash, they figured an exchange of land would have been. Well, that was the colonial office set up.
So what was public opinion about that at the time? Were people happy for that? Or did they think about the fact that it was a swamp? What was the thought?
That time people had no say about nothing. You know that. Colonial office was in charge, and he would say, do this, that had to be done.
Dr. Strizivant, Dr. Have you heard those names? You're a young man. Oh boy.
Is that in Sir Cuthbert Sebastian's book?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in his book, but it's in the Sebastian work with Dr. Strizivant, so for he was a German doctor and highly looked up on. You know.
Okay. So what was that doctor like?
He could be pleasant, but on the other hand, he made no fun when it came to his work. He very outstandish. And then on the other side of the road, I've forgotten the man's name, though I should remember it. Anyway, they had dogs that would make a big racket at night. Oh, telling you the boss is coming, so see us nurses scampering all over to get everything in position because the boss is coming. Well, how do you know? The dogs said, listen to it. They had to give you a certain amount of respect. There's no doubt about it. But on the other hand, we better not let them have to complain that we didn't do this right, we didn't say good morning. We had to be just up to scratch. One night, as usual, there was a man, a big heavy man, I don't remember his name, but he worked at the factory. And there he was coming. He was just starting to get unruly. Thank God doctor was coming in. Anyway, when doctor came and he heard the doctor's voice, he calmed it down and he chatted and everything is all right, says Dr. Strziva. I said, yes, doctor. He said, sure, nothing is wrong. And he looked around because he had surgery that day. Oh. And he was like quite comfortable that things are all right. But he hadn't gone no further than the back veranda. The circumstances, the way the place was built, old Cunningham to what it is today. And they've moved out and so on. Anyway, yes, doctor, he's talked to doctor for quite a little while. Doctor went his way and he sat down in the bed. This is the man now, chatting. And then suddenly he started with a shaking. He tumbled out of the bed. Doctor heard the bluggerum because he was a heavy man.
Okay.
So he came back and as a German doctor, he said, Estelle, Estelle, what happened? I said, doctor, the man is on the floor. Yeah. So he quickly jumped and picked him up. But he didn't last very long. Then he was gone.
Okay.
Hand came to the tractor and head came and threw it down. Then people and picked them all up.
Okay, so you did something like this.
Yeah.
Ran to pull. Was it difficult to do that?
Well, as life goes on, you know, you have to satisfy whatever. You see, but life is hard, very tough.
And when we were had school holidays, we would work on the cotton fields, you know, pick the cottons, and then they took them to the estates and they weighed them, and so you know you would gather the cotton. So that was more in August, you know, when school holidays, and then afterward the industry it went apart, and then the sugarcane continued.
I pick stripping, I cut sugar.
The cane.
Yeah, I cut them make plant, and I cut them. Took in a plant, the long one and the short one. Well, them me short, they plant them with mattock. Them plant them with mattock, and the long one them, the gang them plant them with hoe. Man plant too with hoe.
Okay. So
they drop them in the middle hole, and they plant them with hoe.
I had a little cousin here that died, and I liked him. Miss Morris' brother-in-law. He was the last child of the family. And when he died, I promised, when I get to America, I'm going to go to school, like Papa Bradley said, and learn my lesson. And I'm going to be a nurse, and I'm going to be the best nurse I could be. Because I remember going to see my cousin in Sandy Point Hospital. And that big nurse came out and chased us. All she had to say was, you know, children are not allowed, or whatever. You little wretches, get out of here. So we had to leave. So I promised from that day I was going to be a nurse, and I became a nurse in New York. And love it. Love it.
Tell me what it was like growing up. Did you work in the sugar industry as well?
Of course, I was from a poor family. Grown with my mother and father, but after growing up, left school and so. Things were so rough and tough that I had to go. Even though when I married and started a family, as old people say, one hand couldn't clap. And the gentleman was trying his best, but after the children get big and had to go to Sandy Point High School, books are expensive, he alone could make it. And I went in the field to make life too. You know, even though he never liked it, but I'm glad that I went. For sure I went. I get in a little social, you see? So this is the joy of it now.
Next week, The 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, will be our topic. We will take a look at the early education system in St. Kitts and Nevis. Did you know that 7th standard was the highest educational level that a person of average income could complete? Join our conversation at sknisgenerations@gmail.com, showcasing a proud, resilient heritage, serving as inspiration for endless possibilities.